You know what I love is hearing excuses why you can't start in real estate investing.
I'm 19. I don't have any money to invest in real estate.
I don't have the best credit, and I'd rather travel the world instead.
It's because I have a photography and graphic design business, and I'm choosing to invest in that right now.
I believe in the power of real estate investing, but I just started a new career and I just can't get approved for a loan.
I always wanted to invest in real estate, but it just got too late in my life, and now I have to save for retirement. I just don't have the money to do it right now.
Hey guys, it's Sean Ray, and thanks for checking out this channel. This is the first video in a playlist that's going to be talking about step-by-step everything you need to know to get started from stage one all the way to completion of your first Airbnb property. So today we're going to be talking about how much does it actually cost to get into real estate investing, and specifically into real estate investing through Airbnb. So a lot of people always think that you have to put 20% down. That is the biggest myth. I don't think that everyone understands how untrue this really is. You don't have to put 20% down. The only reasons why you have to put 20% down, or I recommend 25% down, is because if you're trying to get an investment loan. And now a lot of people think that if you're going to be buying your first house, then it has to be an investment because it's going to be an investment property. It's going to be a rental property. That's true. If you're going to be buying a traditional rental property, you have to do it for 20-25% down. And that's going to be through like a traditional conventional loan, which we're going to have a couple videos after this that are going to be talking about different loan types. I recommend you checking out those videos next. But there is a little kind of loophole with Airbnb investments. And so Airbnb investments, if it's your first ever purchase, you can buy it as a personal property. Now, personal property on your first purchase, you can do on a conventional loan, 3% down. And if it's your second personal home, you can do it for 5% down. So let's just say, for instance, you get a home for, I recommend when you're doing Airbnb investing, you look for homes for your first one, like from 200,000 to 300,000. So let's just start at 200,000. And so before you get into the process, make sure to look into your bank account or look into your friends or your BOM, your Bank of Mom.
Okay, what do you want?
Mom, I'm just gonna keep it real with you. Keep it 100. I ain't gonna cut no corners. I ain't gonna beat around no bush. I ain't gonna waste your time. Know what I'm saying?
Mijo, what do you want?
I need to borrow $10,000.
$10,000 for what?
Look into their bank account and see who has this much money that can loan you if you don't have it yourself. So, $2,000. The reason why I say $2,000 is because it makes the math super easy. So, 3% down. So let's do $2,000 for 1%, $2,000 for 2%, $2,000 for 3%. You add that all together, and now you have yourself $6,000. So the down payment is $6,000 on a 3% down conventional loan. Now, if you're going to do a 5% down, you just add an extra $4,000 on top of that, and it's $10,000 down. If you guys don't have $6,000 to $10,000 to get started in real estate investing, then that's totally fine. Just save up a little more, or you could ask a friend or something like that to give you that money, and then you'll give it back to them after everything's said and done. Make sure you ask that friend 3 months prior to getting started, because it has to be able to be in your bank and mature. Okay, let's move on to the next step. So the next step is you have to have money on the side so that during the deal, you can close the deal. So what am I talking about here? There's option check, which is normally about $100, $200 just to take the house off the market. And that allows you like 7 days to 10 days to kind of do all the things you need to do in the house. And if you leave the contract during that time, they get to keep that $100, $200 personal check. The second thing is called earnest money. Now the earnest money is normally 1% of the offer price. And so in this case, say for instance you buy the house for $200,000, then you get an earnest money for $2,000. And now the earnest money needs to be paid with certified funds. So that means you need to wire it to the title company, or you need to get like a cashier's check and give that to the title company. If you leave the contract anytime after the option period, then that earnest money goes to the seller, as in your way of saying sorry for taking your home off the market and sorry for not being a serious buyer. You get to get paid basically an extra $2,000. In this case, if the house is worth $200,000. Now, at the end of the deal, another deal is closing, that you can have a way in the contract to write to where that goes back towards your overall payment towards the house, or it goes to the seller, but I always put it to where it goes to the buyer because I try to take care of my buyers. All right, so for this next step, it's all the things that it's going to cost for you to feel comfortable about buying the house. And so say for instance you want to get an inspector to come out there. Inspector, it depends on what city and what state, but I'd say it costs a few $100s or $500 depending on what inspector you get. And they come out and they basically just go through the house and they try to figure out what's wrong with the house, and they give you their best suggestions on what you need to do to renovate the house or to change things to make sure that you don't walk into this house and then within like a week or two or a month and the water heater is going to explode or the air conditioner is going to just stop working or whatever it is. They'll say, hey, as a person that does this all the time, these are the things you need to be most mindful of. So you need to think about paying the cost of an inspector. Also, if it has termites, you might have to come out of pocket with paying for termites, foundation issues. If you have a pier and beam or the home is older than 20 years, then most likely it's going to have foundation issues. And there's some foundation companies that just do free estimates, and so you don't have to pay for anything. They typically give the quotes to you that are a little higher, and if you pay like $100, $200 for someone to come out and give a quote, then they tend to be a little more average and reasonable with their quotes because they already got paid. They don't need to overcharge you for anything. And so keep that in mind. There are a couple other things you need to come, like say for instance you need a plumber or an air conditioning specialist, but normally that's for very particular cases and that's not going to be 100% of the time. That's just rare stuff. So anything during the option period that you have to get someone to come out as a specialist, you need to consider paying them as well. Okay, so now we're at the final phase of the buying process, but not the final phase of the investing process. So bear with me here. But the final phase of the process, there's a thing called closing costs. And normally closing costs, depending on the situation, your title company, state, like I said before, is typically about 2% of the overall deal. So say for instance in this case, it's $200,000 house, then you'd have to normally pay $4,000 for closing costs, which goes the title and all sorts of fun stuff to take care of the deal, to wrap up the deal, and everyone needs to get their piece of the cheese. But there is a place, depending on your real estate agent, if they have a way of negotiating in the contract, you can actually get them to have the seller pay for the closing costs. And typically when I tell other agents that I do that, they think I'm insane, but it's true. I do it at every single transaction I do, and they basically save every time that I buy a house or every time my clients buy a house, my clients save 2%, which is awesome, which is cash back towards them in their pocket. That way when they close on the house, they can use that towards what we're about to talk about next. So now you're into the house. You got the house, you got the title, the deed, all that kind of stuff like that, and it has your name on it, and you feel proud. You finally got your first house, and this is super exciting. And I'm excited for you, and I'm happy to be part of your journey. But are we done? No, we're not done. You have to have other costs as well that you have to consider after you buy the house. And so, did you buy a perfect house? That's the question. If you did buy a perfect house, we're good. Skip this step, fast forward like a minute or two. I don't know how long I'm about to talk, but we'll find out. But if it's not perfect, then you have to consider possibly painting the outside, the exterior of the house, interior of the house. I always recommend putting like a 10-foot fence. That way it's a privacy fence. That way your neighbors don't give you a bunch of BS. You have to also consider putting in DVR cameras. You want to do one for the exterior of the houses on the back and the front yard, and then also one in your living room to make sure that you can see how many people are in there. So you have to think of that cost as well. Maybe the little tiny things like getting the air conditioner serviced, or whatever else. There's all sorts of little nitpicky things to get the house ready for you to put up on Airbnb. Could your house be perfect? Yes. But if it's not, you have to consider maybe an extra $4,000 to $6,000 to take care of those little tiny things as well. Okay, so your renovations are done and your house looks beautiful. So do you put it up on Airbnb or not? That's the question. Yes, I say yes. Even with no furniture in there, take pictures of the place with no furniture, list it up, make sure the listing looks nice, and try to start getting some people booking it, which happens all the time. People book properties all the time without any furniture in it, believe it or not. It's weird for me, I get it, but it does happen. And so try to get some revenue coming in and increase your rate on that. That way you can hopefully get week-long or month-long stays. But that is for another video. For right now, we're talking about the cost of the house, and then you need to also consider the cost of furniture. Now here's the big cost. After you've done the down payment and everything that we've already gone over and the renovations, a lot of people forget about the cost of the furniture. Now, I like to think about $5,000 per room. So if you got 3 rooms, then consider $15,000 for furniture. And if you get 4 rooms, then $20,000 for furniture. Now, a lot of people are going to hear this and be like, whoa, that is a lot of money. Now, I get you. You could do this for way cheaper. I have a buddy of mine, Anthony, which we're going to be interviewing later in this playlist, and he did an entire Airbnb setup for like $5,000, $6,000, and it was multiple rooms, and he's killing it, making like $8,000 a month on it, just of stuff that he finds on OfferUp and on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. Like, he got super cheap deals, all used furniture. But if you don't want to do that, you want to get new furniture, then there's many, many places you can get discount furniture prices online, and they can even deliver them to the property for you. And if you're lucky, they can actually build them for you as well. But with all the decorations, with all the soaps, with all like the foods and hand towels, sheets, all stuff like that, that's how I get that $5,000 mark. Of course, you're not going to be spending $5,000 on a bed. You're going to be spending $5,000 on the bed and the sheets and all the other little tiny little nitpicky things. So just think in your mind, I'm going to need that. And in the end, if you don't use all that budget, then great, you have some extra money left over and you're already off to the races. Before we get into the last cost, I'm going to actually have to charge you something, and that is admission fee. Make sure to press a like, subscribe, and notification bell if you like this content. This is going to be the first of many videos that are going to get you set up on your financial future. My goal here and my passion on this channel is just to retire you early. I don't have any courses to sell. I'm not going to push anything like that on you. The only thing I'm going to push is that you watch my videos from the beginning to the end. That way you and I can go vacation in the Bahamas together or wherever you want to go. I don't care. I'm kind of done with the Bahamas. But okay, final one. This is a doozy. It's only like $200, $300, but people forget about it all the time. But it's just pictures. You want to get professional pictures done. And then you can normally get a photographer to come out and take some really cool pictures of your property for like $300, $400 max. And if you don't know anybody, jump on Facebook and say, does anybody know a photographer? And someone knows a photographer. Check their work, see if it's good. It is not just cute girls in bikinis. You want to see if they've ever done landscape stuff before, because landscape is very different than portrait. And so if you looked at their stuff and it does look like they have good landscape, have them come out. And something that I like doing is that I actually like putting people in my listing. And so if it's a party house, then I actually like to have my friends come over and then pretend like they, like I have a karaoke machine at one of my places, and like they're singing on the karaoke machine, or I have a big backyard fireplace, and like they're sitting around the fireplace playing guitar, all sorts of fun stuff like that. And so what I want you to consider is not just take pictures of the property, but take pictures of the experience of your property. Find something cool about your property. Maybe you have like the mural of like birthday boy or birthday girl or #1 player or something like that. And then you might have that mural on your house. Take a picture of someone posing in front of that, because everyone's going to want to do that. If you have a throne chair, like this really opulent chair, and you have someone in the chair with like a king hat, like a scepter or something like that, then have a picture of someone doing that, because people are going to look at that and be like, that would be perfect for your birthday, bro, or whatever it is, or for a bachelorette party. Oh, we got to get you in that chair. So make sure the pictures look great. And that's it. That should be all the prices over here on the side. After we line this stuff out, take a picture of this, screenshot this. That's how much it would cost to get into a $200,000 house. If you have this much money in your bank account, then why are you waiting? It's time to get started. The only thing that separates you from where you are now to where you're destined and born to be is just a decision, and that decision is to act. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And like I said, make sure to act by liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell. See you guys in the next video.